And if you could just state the title of your course for me.
Okay, this course is going to be titled Eco Leadership, and I'm Sasha Wohlpart.
And I'm Jim Wohlpart. The idea behind the course is to take the concept of ecology and ecosystems and apply that concept to a model of leadership that we're actually going to work with the class to create. There really isn't such a thing as eco-leadership, at least in the way that we're dealing with it. And so what's going to happen is during the course of the semester, we're going to do some readings and look at some projects, and we will define what eco-leadership is as a group, as a class. We do not intend this class to be about leadership for environmental organizations or environmental leadership. This is a model of leadership that could work for any kind of organization or any kind of community. It could work for a nonprofit, it could work in higher education, it could work in a community classroom. So it's really a model or a new kind of idea about leadership that borrows from ecology and ecosystems.
Yeah, so if you think about the way an ecosystem operates, there are all kinds of systems and processes and relationships and connections, and the whole system together with all of that combined functions very effectively and very efficiently. And so the idea is to take cues from nature and try to figure out how we can make our organizations run in very similar ways and pay close attention to those relationships and how they make that system work and operate. So that's kind of the basis. So we'll begin the course actually talking about ecosystems and how ecosystems function, so that as we progress in the course and start thinking about this model of leadership or this philosophy of leadership, we can apply what we've learned about ecosystems.
Yeah, cool. So after that kind of foundation, beginning of the course where we'll do some readings and probably go out in the field some and think about ecosystems and ecology. We'll then do some reading. We'll probably start with something like Martin Heidegger, look at a couple of Heidegger's essays. We'll do some Native American philosophy, which I think is really cool, look at some of those essays. And then one of our favorites, and in fact when we taught this course in the past, the students really thought this was excellent, is a book by Wangari Maathai, who is a leader over in Africa, was a leader, she actually passed away recently, and she really uses an eco-leadership model to accomplish some pretty amazing things. So those are some of the texts that we'll read and talk about as we work towards defining this. The only text that we'll read that actually deals with leadership is a book by Robert Greenleaf called The Servant Leader. And this essay, it's actually a short essay, is a pretty famous essay that defines leadership in terms of service. And so that will be one of the components of what we'll look at.
Yeah, and so along that same line, what we'll ask students to do is investigate an organization and look at their leadership styles in that organization. Are they applying what we are defining as eco-leadership sort of philosophies in their business, or are they doing things in a way that maybe doesn't allow that company to run the way it could, and what could they do differently? So we'll really do some group work to investigate some specific organizations. Last semester, the students, or last time we taught this course, the students looked at Tom's as an organization, Tom's Shoes, and they also looked at Starbucks to see how those companies operate. So we will ask students to work together to identify an organization and go through those motions as just part of applying what it is that we're learning.
Yeah, so in addition to the readings, the group projects, there will be two other major components to the course. Students will write short essays after we do each of the readings, beginning to define eco-leadership based on what we've done so far in the semester, and that'll kind of build. And all of those short essays will build towards the last major project, which is a synthesis essay, where they will define eco-leadership using all of the material and all the ideas that we have generated during the course of the semester. And we want to be really clear, we don't have a definition of eco-leadership coming in that we're going to teach. We will, as a class, explore and come up with an understanding of what eco-leadership might be. And every student in the class may have a slightly different understanding of what that is, and that's what makes the class so rich. So it's really an undergraduate research class where students will really be engaged in creating knowledge. That's one of the cool things about this class, is that we are all going to be colleagues and participants in coming up with an understanding of this model.
Yeah. And kind of a pinnacle in the course, which will happen midway through the course, actually in February, Mary Oliver, who is a very famous Pulitzer Prize winning American poet who does a lot of nature poetry, will be coming to campus. Actually, she'll be doing a reading out at on Sanibel Island. And so we are going to read some Mary Oliver poems throughout the semester and think about think about ethics. So we're going to think about ethics in an organization, but also ethics in terms of our relationships with others, other people, and the natural world. And Mary Oliver really explores those ethics in very meaningful ways in her poetry. So we will do a little bit of that, and then hopefully people who are involved in the course will be interested in going to hear her do a reading out on Sanibel.
February 8th. We hope you join us next semester. We'd love to see you.
Yes, thank you.
All right. And you guys talked a lot about researching a particular company or a couple of different companies. Are you doing that as a whole class, or are you breaking up into smaller groups and the smaller groups get to choose their company? Or
We'll do smaller groups, and the groups will get to choose their company, and then the product of that will be a presentation to the rest of the class on what they learned about their company and how they're relating it to this eco-leadership model.
okay, and then a lot of the honor students are leaders in organizations on campus. Is there going to be a way to get this sort of class? Is it going to also talk about implementing it in the places that they're already leaders, or?
We would love for them to bring their experiences into the classroom and for the ideas in the classroom to go back out into the leadership roles that they have. But absolutely, we hope that this will be transformative. And in fact, when we taught this before, the students said that it really opened their eyes into things that they hadn't ever really thought about or explored before. So yes, and if there are real practical ways that we could interact with organizations, that would be great. We'd love to think about that.
Okay, and do you guys have any last comments, or shall we wrap it up?
No, I think that's all. We're excited to meet anybody who wants to join us in this journey of figuring out how to be an eco-leader.
Yes. Excellent. Thanks.